This time of year at Floracopeia, we think a lot about frankincense and myrrh. Frankincense is one of my personal favorites among all of the sacred scents, the resins, and the oils. But at this time of year, we have special significance about frankincense and myrrh because these are two very sacred substances that represent a lot of things to everybody, to me personally and to humanity in terms of their value and their preciousness, in terms of their medicinal powers, in terms of how they make us feel. It's also something that links us to the theme of the return of light and the winter solstice. And the theme of light, if we relate it to frankincense, has to do with the fact that the frankincense trees grow in a region that have so much sunlight, very dry, very intense climate. And the tears of frankincense that are actually the blood of the frankincense trees, crystallized, were referred to by the old doctors as crystallized drops of sunlight. And so when we put a piece of frankincense on a coal to burn it, actually what we are doing is we are making an offering, not only of the life force of the tree, but actually of the sunlight itself. And so when I think about frankincense, I think of a lot of interconnected ideas, interconnected realities and truths that are just as important now as they were 2,000 years ago when the three holy men carried these substances to the Christ and made an offering. And if we think about why historically frankincense and myrrh were given as an offering that were as equal value as gold, we need to consider how powerful these are as medicines, because before the days of antibiotics, frankincense and myrrh were used as the primary antimicrobial antibiotic substance, wound healing medicine, pain reducing medicine, anti-inflammatory medicine. And so these substances were highly regarded for their medicinal powers. And they were also very hard to get at that time. They come from very remote regions. It requires a lot of hardship to actually harvest the tree, harvest the resin from the tree. It's very labor intensive. It's actually in dangerous areas where there's intense heat and scorpions and snakes. And so these substances, as they were transported from the Horn of Africa region across the old world, gained monetary value and they gained legendary powers. And these were considered to be the finest of all the offerings that we could make to Spirit, in the spirit of gratitude, with a sense of thanksgiving, with a thanks of acknowledging Spirit around us for everything that we have. And this is what I have discovered in presenting frankincense and myrrh to audiences over the years, is that when people come in contact with the fragrance of the resin itself, they come in contact with the precious oil distilled from the resin, that it touches something that is deeper than just the individual recognition of the smell itself. It's almost like frankincense has had such a powerful, direct role in humanity's spiritual aspirations and activities for so long that it is actually now part of our psyche collectively. That those crystallized drops of sunlight have been enjoyed, appreciated in a setting of evocative spiritual moods and ceremony and ritual for so long by so many people that they're actually part of our human collective mind at this point. So when I think about this season, when I think about the return of light season, the winter solstice and the turning of the year and the return of the longer days, what I think about is how sunlight must feel to the plants. What I think about actually is not so much rebirth in the religious traditions, although that's important. What I think about actually is the process of rebirth in the plant world. The seeds beginning to feel some warmth coming in the soil in the spring, and how all life is actually dependent on the plants, and how all life is dependent specifically on the process of photosynthesis within the plants, because this is how sunlight is converted into all forms of nourishment for all beings. So when I think about the return of light, I think about the sun rays coming in contact with the leaves, coming in contact with the needles of the trees, and thinking about the miracle of photosynthesis, the miracle of photosynthesis, and think about how this is actually the basis for our human consciousness, how solar energy is converted for us by these photosynthetic beings who then feed us, and through the process of nourishing us, feed the physical body so that our consciousness can in turn perceive this light that has created us. So if we tie all these together, all these ideas together, we can see that when we have frankincense, which represents a crystallized drop of sunlight that is actually the crystallized blood, the life force of the frankincense tree, and if we put this on a coal and we burn it and we enjoy its fragrance, it nourishes us. It nourishes our soul. It nourishes our spirit, or as we say in Chinese medicine, our shen. It nourishes our shen. And this, in turn, is a form of sunlight that we have just put on the coal, which is fire, which is also a form of sunlight, and it is nourishing our consciousness, which is also a form of sunlight. And all of this has happened because of this very fundamental, very profound, very miraculous process of how the plants transform sunlight for us. So with that, I would just like to say thank you to everybody for supporting our vision here at Floracopeia, and I wish all of you a very wonderful holiday season.